Thanks for having me. And hi, everyone. Very nice to meet you. Yeah, a little bit about me. I spent a good number of years at Google building Google Assistant and spent some time in Google Cloud. Then did my own startup, and now I'm our senior director of engineering at Geico, helping Geico with building AI products and transforming the tech org. So today I wanted to share about how AI evals are done right. And this is probably a new skill for a lot of leaders as well as like product decision makers to build on that sets apart in building good quality products and launching AI the right way.
Cloud Leadership Circle is brought to you by Dunyasi Ventures, a leading provider of expert recruitment services. Whether you are starting out or scaling up, Dunyasi Ventures recruitment solutions will give you access to expert recruiters who will find the right fit every time. Contact Dunyasi Ventures today for a free consultation to build your dream team.
If you take a step back, right, like to understand what has changed, what is different from old software development to how AI products are built, there are fundamentally different ways of building these things, right? So with software, it's very deterministic in nature. If you codify something, you know how it works, there are bugs in it that you can go fix it, right? But here with AI apps, it's the model that is making all these reasoning decisions. So there is a lot of stochastic behavior built in. As a result, the failure mode is very different. It's new, it's context driven, and it varies based on how you've implemented it. And your old way of testing software was more functional in nature, where you are able, you know what you've codified, and you go focus on getting bigger, larger coverage, right? On the other hand, here we need to think about different ways of testing this. AI-driven products, where it's not just functional. It's you need to have adversarial testing. You need to have a red team that is doing all the qualitative assessments and run evals continuously, which is where you differentiate or like catch these before your customers catch it. The old way of qualifying these products were one-off sign-offs. If you're in the enterprise world, you might work with a vendor to buy a software, sign off, and then like operate it in production. But if you're building it, like once you launch it, you'll iterate, but not on a weekly basis, right? But here, you need to have continuous evaluations done in a way to be more sure of what you've launched, right? So the traditional way of QA-driven process is kind of getting outdated, and there's a need for having product managers, engineers, and other gatekeepers in the org coming together to share this responsibility. If you look at what OpenAI's President Greg Brockman talked about this, and this code is almost 1.5 years old, and this stuck with a lot of people in the tech industry, right? Evals are surprisingly often all you need. And while he talked about this from the model layer, I believe that this holds true for the application layer as well. So once you have a model and you try to integrate that into your application, it's not just that you have controls in the model layer. You need to have controls in the application layer where you run these evals across your org. And so if you are actively working on AI space, which I guess many of you are doing because that's probably top of a lot of organizations' mind. What you would typically do is to go look at all these models that are available in production. You have Gemini from Google, you have Claude from Anthropic, OpenAI models, and DeepSeek, Llama, Mistral. There's like a ton of foundation models that have been released on a monthly basis, right? And when you see those models, there are a couple of things that you get. On the left, you get this table that talks about the quantitative metrics about how the model performs for standard benchmarks. But if you go dig deeper into these numbers, you see that many of these numbers are not close to the 90% coverage that you would expect from traditional software, right? They are standard benchmarks. They are constantly evolving, and they're not probably going to directly work for your application use case. And on the other hand, on the right side, you see qualitative evals. These are crowdsourced human preferences, right? Like, so people test it, they give feedback, and then you're able to see that there's no one single model that does well for all these different dimensions. So if you're testing for text, there's one model that does well. If you're testing for a copilot, maybe another model does well, right? You don't have a definitive answer of which model really works for you for your application's use case, right? A key takeaway, once you have a model, the data that is published is probably not a good signal for you to have the confidence to go launch it in production right away. In the past, a vendor could have given you software that you do a POC or an evaluation and then go launch it, but that won't work at this point with all the AI products out there, right? And if you look at how the overall stack works, so say you take that model, you have software engineers in your org who are ready to integrate with this model, they have to make a whole lot of choices. They have to think about model configurations that they need to do, what data that they pass to these models, how they integrate with the models, what guardrails that we need to build in order to make sure that this is secure for your production setting. And then it becomes a fairly new greenfield way of doing things compared to how you've done before. And so as product managers or decision makers in larger organizations, you have two critical questions to ask with this new model. Do we have a clear definition of success for this AI feature when you launch it? And the second is that, does everyone agree on it? You have a lot of stakeholders in your org who really care about how these products work in production, and they might have very different set of questions that what traditionally a software like software product might be responsible for, right? So a UX team might go with how does this model behave intuitively for users, and how does it fail gracefully? Or a security team might ask what's our exposure if a user enters sensitive data in a prompt? Or a legal team could go with, like, say, will this model output copyrighted information without attribution? So these are hard questions that we might not be able to answer without doing a proper testing in the application layer compared to what the model has just given. And the same holds true for business and operations. They have unique ways of asking these questions that software engineers might not get it right by just doing functional testing or the way we qualified software in the past. So as a result, what is happening as trends in large orgs and in tech-driven orgs is we are slowly evolving from a data science-centric evaluation to a multidisciplinary full-stack evaluation. So here is an opportunity for you to rethink about how to use these subject matter experts to build AI products in your organization. This is critical to bring that different vantage points to building things. So if your organization is primarily looking at building software, or like trying to transform into a tech or an AI org, there's a good chance that you need to have all these subject matter experts come together to build a product that really works for you in production. And so how then will you evolve your stack? Right. These are traditional stages through which you would qualify a product. Like you have a planning phase, you set up things, you have say developers or solution engineers bringing these things together. You have a sign-off process on like qualifying or giving a thumbs up on saying when the product is actually ready to be launched, and then you launch this in production. We have a lot of metrics that you can look at. At each stage, you probably have to do different things for you to qualify these AI solutions. In the planning phase, you actually want to define success criteria. Like it's not just about looking at hallucination of these models. You want to be clear about what success looks like for your application. And then you would probably want to invest in like coming up with a rubric-based grading. Now, this is to reflect some of the testing that all these stakeholders will do and how you grade that against some of the questions that they might ask. Your dev stack will have to evolve from being a continuous integration and development to having continuous integration, development, and evaluation as well. You might want to run nightly evals like how these model developers do on a daily basis, right? And your sign-offs are no more just looking at dashboards or slides that they present to say, yes, the product looks great, let's go qualify. But you probably want to build playground for all the stakeholders to try the product out before actually launching it out, right? This is an opportunity to have this much early on so they catch issues early before you go out in production and probably have your user find the problem first time, right? And the scale at which things are going, there's a good chance there's a lot of opportunity to build agentic monitoring in production. And this involves using these reasoning models, agentic software to go and debug your problems in production that can scale how your SRE teams and DevOps teams actually operate today, or so that you're getting a lot from with respect to productivity and catching issues early on. So I would recommend more like a 5-step way of thinking about this on how to define success criteria. I know we might not have time to go through all the stages. I'll start with the planning phase of like, how do you define success criteria? The number one thing is to think about is start with the user's goal. Like you are the experts in your org, you're the experts in your different application field. You know how success looks like, right? Not what the model providers provide. So you want to be specific about what good looks like. And success is not just about like higher usage, better engagement. It's about defining what is acceptable, like what good looks like. You then want to prioritize what really matters the most, right? Is it accuracy? Is it speed, safety, cost? Different dimensions that you can look at, but you want to start with something that is critical to begin with and then scale to go address all these aspects, right? Now, there are a lot of organizations who might come back and tell you that like, you want to do everything, right? That may not be a good answer. So I think this is a very iterative process. You start small, focus on something, and then go kind of like expand on the evaluations, right? And tie those metrics to product outcome. This is where you truly unlock the business value compared to just getting these engineering metrics that might look great, but maybe not lead to a good product outcome for you, right? And then keep it iterative. Revisit the criteria as the product matures, and you want to kind of keep iterating on like what matters at that point, and then keep iterating to launch something that is useful for your company. There is an example here. I believe the slides will be shared. You can look at it, how you would then translate to defining this into different dimensions through which that you can evaluate. And with that, let me stop and happy to take questions.